Hello everybody, my name is George Hage. I'm the Director for Internal Relations here at the William & Mary Global Innovation Challenge. Our team could not be more proud of the outcome of this event, especially with the first return to an in-person model since the outset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Over the last 2 days, we've had the opportunity to reach 30 teams with 110 competitors representing 21 universities from 7 countries. This event could not have been possible without our amazing sponsors, the Institute for Integrative Conservation and the Whole of Government Center of Excellence. Furthermore, we would like to give special thanks to the Director of the Whole of Government Center of Excellence, Dr. Catherine Floyd, for her kind and dedicated mentorship throughout the years that have been vital to WMGIC's development and exponential growth. The rest of this competition will go as follows. Following me will be our closing speaker. Then winners will be announced and closing remarks will be held. It is my pleasure to introduce the closing speaker, Sarah Johnson, from the International Youth Foundation. Without further ado, I'd like to open the floor to Sarah to share her wisdom with us all here today. Thank you.
Greetings, WMGIC participants. Congratulations to all of you on a case study competition well done. Whether you are running the competition, competing in it, or winning it, each of you has exhibited skills in creative and critical thinking, collaboration, effective communication, and of course, innovation. At the International Youth Foundation, where I oversee our youth agency and engagement practice, we serve and work with young people from all over the world. Being here with you all this weekend, whether virtually or in person, I was reminded of why IYF believes that educated and engaged young people possess the power to solve the world's toughest problems. As I listened to your ideas and your pitches, I was particularly reminded of the thousands of young social entrepreneurs IYF has supported and partnered with in our history. These are young leaders who are catalyzing systems and creating social movements in support of all 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals. Recently, we had the opportunity to fund 28 of them through our Global Youth Resiliency Fund, which focused on funding youth-led efforts to combat the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and create a more equitable and sustainable post-COVID world. Here are just a few examples of what our youth partners did that connects with some of the issues you grappled with in this year's case study. In Uganda, Mo Kisirisa and his organization Golden Boots used the power of sports to reduce the mental health impact of the pandemic on young refugees, youth with disabilities, and adolescent girls living in low-income areas. In Peru, Jimena Cordova and her organization Semilla Intercultural partnered with 25 educational institutions to deliver intercultural citizenship education to adolescents, 80% of whom demonstrated increased respect for their own culture, the culture of others, and greater ability to communicate in culturally sensitive ways. Participating schools reported decreased instances of racial and ethnic bullying. And in Kenya, Dismas Kisilu and his organization Solar Freeze distributed 10 solar-powered storage units to 150 smallholder farmers, 80% of whom were women, to help communities cope with the disruptive effects of climate change on agriculture and livelihoods. Participating households reduced their post-harvest loss by 95% and increased their income by 150% because they were no longer forced to sell to middlemen out of fear and desperation that their produce would spoil. To accomplish their goals, Dismas and his team also trained 10 young women, ages 18 to 29, to install, operate, and maintain the units, developing valuable skills in the renewable energy sector. I see in you all same things I see in leaders like Mo, Jimena, and Dismas. A desire to create an inclusive and equitable world, a drive to develop policies that protect the rights of every human and bring our economies and environments into harmony, a knack for envisioning partnerships that bring the public, private, and civil society sectors together in mutually beneficial and innovative ways, and a refusal to accept the status quo and tolerate decisions that don't move us forward in co-creating solutions to wicked problems like climate-induced refugee crises. Hold on to and hone those beliefs, values, and dispositions. We are living in a world filled with pressing challenges, some of which we have never seen before, and we desperately need your leadership. Whether you choose to exhibit that leadership by going into business, politics, education, diplomacy, or starting your own social enterprise, here are some of the things that I saw you do this weekend, which I know will be useful to you along the way. You dug deep to understand the root causes of an issue. You were specific about what goals you wanted to achieve. You considered who was most affected, how to engage them in your solutions, and the potential consequences of your ideas. You understood the resources at your disposal and also your constraints. You analyzed the stakeholders involved and the rules and norms governing relationships between them. As an international development practitioner, this gives me hope because it means you are developing the skills that my job requires every day. And it means that you are preparing yourselves to meet the many important paradigm shifts the sector is navigating. From an industry where power is concentrated in the hands of a few, to one where power is shifted to local leaders and communities. From one-size-fits-all approaches to differentiated approaches that account for various intersecting identities. And from work that focuses on one-off projects to an emphasis on facilitating systemic change. I believe that each of you signed up for this competition because you are interested in creating the world as it should be. And you likely arrived at this passion for social change and innovation in very different ways. If you have never asked yourself, why do I care so much? I encourage you to do so and to anchor yourself in that answer. Over the years, whenever we have asked young social change makers what motivated them to start and lead their initiatives, there were 3 reasons that emerged most clearly. They had been personally impacted by a social problem that affected their immediate family or community. They had been exposed to a social problem through a volunteer opportunity, and they had gained knowledge through education, which changed how they saw the world and what they wanted to do about it. I share this with you to underscore a few things. First, the importance of your lived experience. It is valid, and it is one of your areas of expertise. Next, the importance of opting in to opportunities to engage in the world around you. And finally, the importance of a well-rounded education and applied learning experiences like WMGIC. I hope this experience will inspire you and inform the next steps that you are considering for your future. 2 pieces of advice as you go: don't wait around for someone else to find and fix these issues that you hold close to your heart. And don't sit back until the people in power, many of whom are from older generations, figure it out and do something about it. I will close how I started by offering congratulations again to the event organizers, competitors, and victors. You are remarkable talents and leaders, and I'm so thankful to have had the chance to participate in this challenge and bear witness to your innovative spirit firsthand. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your incredible words, Sarah. It is my hope that these words, along with the rest of the competition, provide inspiration for the students who we have gathered here today. On this note, it is my pleasure to introduce you all to the winners from the 7th Annual WMGIC Flagship Competition. These winners will have an opportunity to share with us all a consolidated version of their pitch, and we will begin with our in-person governance stream. Congratulations to the team Global Scholars. You may now share your winning pitch.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Speak up.
My name is Matthew,
My name is Sailor.
and our teammate Tarun could not make it because he's feeling sick, but we will present for him. So Our team represents Bangladesh's Ministry of Environment. Our goal is to reverse mangrove deforestation in Chanpai Union and Khulna district as a whole. We have chosen this specific community of 17,662 residents as scientific evidence and local social solutions demonstrate that mangrove forests combined with local rural community management and governance will best adapt to climate change in Bangladesh as a whole. We will implement a pilot Adopt a Tree program with a vision to expand nationally after 1 year. Through a three-pronged approach designed to incorporate youth, local women, the landless poor, and Chanpai Union Parishad's citizens as a whole, we will employ and incentivize local support from migrants and people whose livelihoods could be made more resilient through an associated education and training program with cash rewards to replant and maintain mangrove vegetation, focusing on the Sundarbans. The Sundarbans is a region in southwestern Bangladesh with mangrove forests that has undergone massive deforestation recently. And funded by GEF or other international climate finance and the ministry's 2023 budget, which has dramatically increased, we expect to decrease erosion, build structural resilience against flooding, restore biodiverse forest coverage, sustain ecotourism, and increase long-term forestry livelihoods for vulnerable communities to increase their financial dependence from usually corrupt Bangladeshi government. I hope the audio is.
Yeah. So for the monitoring mechanisms, we're involving the local community in making sure that we don't have rampant corruption. So the government will sign MOUs or a memorandum of understanding with local NGOs, such as the Cox's Bazar Civil Society, to make sure that they can provide annual reports and other criticisms that are necessary to kind of monitor our work. We'll also conduct rotational in-person inspection of the forest by our forestry officers in the department. This can make sure that no same group of people will stay in one area for too long. We'll also introduce the tree sensoring system, which is essentially a few sensors that will allow us to understand how the trees are doing in terms of their health and also the water content that they have so that we can have ways to figure out how to help the trees. And for the long term, we're introducing kind of a carbon credit. So we all know that the carbon credit market is really huge, and many big companies pollute. So when they pollute, they're incentivized to provide financial compensations to actors like us so that we can protect the environment. After calculation, we're planning to grow 20 hectares of mangroves, which can bring over $1 million of carbon market to the community. We'll also create a community council consists of NGOs and elders. While some of the money will go to the government, the vast majority will go to the local communities for their help to protect our environment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That is our pitch.
Thank you so much, Team Global Scholars. Moving forward, our next stream is the in-person social entrepreneurship stream. Congratulations to the team, NATO Your Business. Please share with us your winning pitch.
Hello, everyone. We are NATO for Business. I'm Jonah. This is Sam. This is Amanda. And then our teammate Claire had to go because of a tennis tournament, but we respect her and her contributions. Go, Claire. So we proposed a scheme called Mentoring for Mobility, which is about promoting aquaculture in Bagarhat district of Bangladesh. It's a mentoring program to implement agriculture cooperatives in Bangladesh's southern coastal district through the creation of small-scale, locally owned aquaculture farms for shrimp. We plan on using a combination of rural technical training and life skills training, with rural technical training involving funding for equipment and rural training centers, and then sending experts out into the field, along with life skills promotion, which include things like financial literacy and community engagement. We're planning on taking a very local approach, partnering with Adams, which is a local NGO to facilitate implementation, getting education information and research from the ICCCAD and Bangladesh universities. And we also picked this specific location because it's proximity to the export processing zone in Mongla, which would help export the products of stuff. We would also work with local government ministries, especially the agriculture and education ministries, launching a one-year pilot in the district with long-term aim of scaling up via slow, sustained growth. Our main aims were to increase social mobility and agency among climate refugees, facilitate integration of IDPs, internally displaced persons, into host communities, with ethno-religiously sensitive and diverse mentors, and through the creation of farming cooperatives, which are joint ventures between the IDPs and the host communities. We want to provide education and career opportunities for youth, alter urban migration patterns, improve financial literacy, and food security, with the overall message being to promote holistic education intervention. We believe that there would be quite strong community uptake. There's already a demand for this type of initiative, and it would facilitate a transition away from large-scale commercial fishing, thus improving Bangladesh's sustainability in the long term. There's a regional and a domestic market, with local sales and excess potentially being able to be sold to the government for either redistribution to IDPs in other communities or exported to other countries in the region and worldwide. And we also believe, building on the previous team's proposal, that a proportion of funds could be allocated to mangrove forest restoration in coastal regions. We also think it would obviously reduce food insecurity and potentially increase women's presence within the workforce. In the long term, we'd like to get more funding from governments, international aid and development organizations, and from private enterprises like the MasterCard Foundation, and ultimately implement it across Bangladesh to export products internationally in the long term. Thanks.
Incredible. Next, we have our virtual governance stream with the team Joe and I, the soft power guy, being our winners. Team, please share your pitch.
Thank you. I'm George.
I'm Amelia. Our teammates Delaney and Sally are at athletic competitions for lacrosse and frisbee, but we're happy to present. So, acting as the Ministry of Environment, Forest, and Climate Change, we plan to implement the proven successful and UN recommended village cluster model to create refuges for people fleeing climate catastrophes and rising sea levels. We plan to focus on a pilot program looking at tracts of land the government already owns through eminent domain acquisitions from 2022 near the cities of Mymensingh, Khulna, and Kumilla in order to divert refugee flow from the already overcrowded capital, Dhaka, and also to create an alternative for people already living in poverty in the slums that surround Dhaka. And we've identified these areas based looking on flood maps at their relative safety. In these village clusters, we also plan to implement sustainable practices and mitigation. So like other teams have mentioned, we're going to implement a mangrove planting program. Mangroves protect towns from flood damage and are also carbon sinks. And we're also going to implement a legume program. The main crop grown in Bangladesh is rice. It accounts for about 70% of caloric intake of Bangladesh people. And legumes can actually be grown in concert with rice. So when like fields are being rested, soil is being rested, you can grow legumes. It fixes nitrogen in the soil. So it's a really great option to integrate with local food culture while also diversifying food production and creating a potential new export. We're going to finance this by tapping into existing funding streams by applying to the International Monetary Fund for a total of $1.5 million through the Extended Credibility Facility Loan Program, which is a 0% interest loan program with a grace period of more than 5 years, and the Resilience and Sustainability Trust. Bangladesh actually already got $4.5 million from the IMF last year, largely in response to COVID. So we think this is a reasonable amount and what we need for this pilot program. And a great part about this funding is corruption is a big issue that we anticipate. So we plan to use Microsoft Act software, which we can apply to that IMF funding, which will track all that funding down to the dollar to make sure that it is going to what we direct it towards. And yeah.
And in order to implement the rest of this, we are looking at institutional framework by using our ministry in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Land in order to develop a framework moving forward past the 1-year timeline, specifically focusing on the Ministry of Land with the fact that it can continue to do land acquisitions, which has been recommended by the UN. However, as the World Bank has noted, that there has been issues in the past with that, particularly the fact that it is cumbersome and a little bit, it's quite complicated in Bangladesh. As a result, we took some of the recommendations by the World Bank, such as increasing staffing on this service, as well as the fact is developing a marketplace database in order to make sure that people are getting the fair, just price for the purchase of their property. And as well as that, we are going to be focusing on zoning in an agricultural sense and focusing on that.
Thank you.
Excellent work, and congratulations, team. Next is our virtual social entrepreneurship stream. Congratulations to Team Competence. Please share your pitch.
Thank you so much. We are from VU Amsterdam, and we are Sandura, Vladimira, and Ivo, and we have found a novel solution to supplying water shortages in refugee camps in Bangladesh.
So the current solution in such situations is to use chlorine tablets, which are inefficient, they pose health risks, and they also don't have the same capacity that our solution has, which is, so we propose the use of water filtration trucks, which we aim to deploy in certain regions and thereby overcome the obstacles that are posed by the use of chlorine tablets.
In the first year, we plan to deploy a fleet of 50 trucks, and this will cost about 4.8 million. And later on, we will scale up to other regions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Team Competence. Finally, we have our virtual business consulting stream, with the winning team being the Marauders. Please share your pitch.
Thank you so much. This is Kedor, Richard, Lily and Jack, and I'm Owen, and we're from McMaster University. We have proposed a program that tackles youth unemployment of displaced individuals via the growth of the agricultural sector in Bangladesh. We believe that the solution to the crisis of climate displacement in Bangladesh must be human-led, community-centered, and focused on improving the lives of Bangladeshi people in rural locations to alleviate the pressure on already overcrowded urban areas. We have advised ACI, one of the largest Bangladeshi conglomerates, with a main focus on agribusiness, to provide microfinancing loans for youth participants in sustainable farming techniques. ACI's own values, enriching quality of life through responsible application of new technology, align with this project. We believe that for ACI, there is room for growth of their own customer base through the effects of these microfinance loans. And this will help mitigate the effects of climate change through promoting sustainable farming techniques. In the practicalities of the project, in the first year, we recommend a training and skill program alongside the microfinancing of around 1,000 individuals, with the aim that farmers should be able to repay this within 5 years. So this would be able to achieve profits that we project of over $100,000 within this 5-year period. In the future, microfinancing could provide a scalable solution that could help many more young people in Bangladesh achieve success in agribusiness. We identified stakeholders such as the Bangladeshi Youth Development Programme, which already has partnerships with banks to facilitate loan requirements such as this. The local government has also partnered with organisations such as BRAC Seeds in the past to improve local development. BRAC Seeds, a market leader in this area, is a non-profit NGO that has already seen a steady increase in the profitability of their microfinancing over the last 4 years, which has only been capped because of COVID. And this shows that there is room for growth within this industry, particularly run by businesses as opposed by banks. Ultimately, our project uses microfinance on enterprise as an instrument to improve the lives of displaced people in Bangladesh. This is through structured migration to regions facing less risk of climate change-related disasters via agribusiness and sustainable practices. And this can allow mitigation of climate-related disasters before they strike, helping Bangladesh better prepare for the changes ahead. And we would just like to thank the hosts for this competition and to thank the judges and mentors for all their time as well. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you and congratulations, Team Marauders. To all of our competitors, we thank you for your participation and choosing to spend the last 24 hours working incredibly hard with us. Over the next few weeks, please stay tuned for the return of feedback for your projects, as well as certificates of participation. To our William & Mary teams, we want to open the invitation to apply to join the WMGIC team and experience the other side of WMGIC competitions. To all of our competing teams, we invite you to participate in our competitions next year. Thank you all again and have a wonderful rest of your weekend.